I hope everyone can hear and see us. Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear us, see us. I hope we can be together, but we are very excited for you to be here to join us in this session of FilProCon. I hope everyone's been enjoying themselves. My name is Everett Icao.
And I am Gavina.
And we make the Chicago FilAm
Duo.
All right, we're very excited. As many of you know, I'm sure that many of our participants here in this session are all over the world. I am based originally in Chicago, but I am happily greeting you from the future, I guess. I am currently right now in the Philippines with as you can see, with my grandparents' home in the province. So I am excited to be here. So I'm greeting you all from the Philippines. So it is 7:30 in the morning here, November the 5th. And Jean, where are you at?
I'm in Chicago. It's nice weather over here. It's a little chilly. How is it over there in the Philippines?
A little chilly. Can't say the same. Sorry.
Can you guys put some messages if you can hear us? Okay, just want to make sure that you guys are good in terms of like hearing us during this session. If you guys
can put some here. Yes, hello. Yes. So happy that you guys are here to join us. We're just very excited for you to join and learn from Dr. Abby. We're very excited for her to be here and learn from her and her experiences. Right, Jean? I'm excited.
Yes, I'm really, really excited to kind of really have her talk about like assertiveness and being Filipino and ways that we can move forward as leaders and kind of breaking the bamboo ceiling. So really excited.
I mean, yes, and we're going to be learning from each other, from Dr. Abby, obviously, but I see that we have quite a few people. I mean, you know, we obviously can't see you, but you can hear us. But, you know, let us know where you guys are coming from. I see a few people that I've crossed paths before. Maybe I may or may not have met you formally. But, yeah, tell us where you're at. Maybe you can kind of get a gauge of where people are coming from. Tell us what you do. And then we can, you know, learn from each other and get a sense of where each of everyone's backgrounds are. Like I said, I'm from Chicago. I'm currently in the legal profession. I am currently the director of investigation at my firm. And not getting any younger, as I've realized, because my grandparents are not getting any younger. But I'm excited to be here. Jean, tell us what you do.
So I work currently for Blue Cross Blue Shield as a clinical strategy manager. I have a background in health administration and nursing. I've been with Blue Cross for quite some time, loving what I do. It really is a great job, and also back in school. So that's a little stressful.
Welcome.
Like a little bit stressful that I actually just took a few. I just took 2 vacations recently over the past 2 weekends, just coming back from Montana. So if there's anybody that needs recommendations on places to go, I definitely recommend Montana. It's a beautiful place. And then recently, actually just coming back from Texas, where I was actually able to celebrate Filipino American History Month over there, watching the Houston Rockets and Utah Jazz. So it was a good time, and also was able to connect with our current FilPro BOD, Brian Ramos, and who's out in Atlanta, along with Anthony Guevara, so one of our FilPro alumni. So it was really good to connect with them and lots of fun in really celebrating Filipino American History Month.
That's awesome.
Yes.
You know, we've got quite a wide range of participants joining us. For me, I'm sorry if I'm gonna say this morning. You'll have don't mind me. I'm in a whole different hemisphere than most of y'all. But I see we have Cheryl from Philadelphia. Hello, Cheryl. We have Josephine or Joji. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. From Maryland. Hello. Welcome. We have Chachi from Hawaii. Wow. Hello. We're not too far from
Aloha. I just came back from there a few months ago too.
That's awesome. She is a director and audio producer from Kasmahan. Sorry, I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. My bad. Hello, but we welcome you here. We have Sweeney from Long Beach, California. I run an all
Hello, everyone from Long
podcast.
Beach.
That's exciting. Oh, Josephine said Montana and Yellowstone. Yes. Glacier National Park is the sight to see. For those who've not been to Montana, great place to be. That's awesome. Cool. We got a former chef, now a food stylist, Cheryl from Philadelphia. She's
nice.
A travel blogger as well. That's exciting. Ooh, check her out at Philly Food Gal. That's awesome. We have quite a few very talented folks. That's really awesome. What do we got? We have Kay-Go.
Oh, we also have Sergio from Hawaii.
Oh, hi, Sergio.
Hi, Sergio.
We have Kay-Go, who's from Hartford, Connecticut. She's an artist and community educator.
Oh, Kay-Go.
That's exciting. A grad student.
I met her on a networking event. Networking just a few minutes ago.
That's awesome.
She invited me to Connecticut. We're going.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Connecticut, beautiful place. So this is great. Obviously with Filipicon, we're going to be part of such a huge, organization. We're hoping that you are able to learn and take away from the sessions that you're a part of. For us, for Gina and I, when we talked about and saying yes about this session, we want it to be very, very informative, but also very informal. We are all come from, similar in terms of backgrounds from our heritage, but we have very different experiences that we've gone through, and we want you to be, to share that story. I want this to be a platform for you to share that, and if we can highlight your stories collectively, I think that's where change comes from, and I'm a firm believer of that personally. And so I've got my coffee. Again, it's early here in the Philippines, so please, make yourself comfortable. Grab yourself something to be a part of this. We want the conversation to continue to be ongoing, and so we want to highlight everyone's story. So yeah, so I know Dr. Abby will be with us momentarily, but in the meantime, let's kind of get to know each other even more. Yeah, where in the Philippines are you from, Jean? Where's your family from?
So my family is from Pangasinan. That's the main island in Luzon. In Luzon, yes. And my dad grew up in Villasis, Pangasinan, and my mom grew up in Puerto Rubio, Pangasinan. How about you?
Well, for me, my family is from the proud island of southern Philippines of Mindanao. So I'm currently in, if you guys are familiar with the geography, I'm in the northern part of Mindanao. We're from Cagayan de Oro City, which is Misamis Occidental, the province. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. I see we've got, Jean, it looks like Jason's also from Pangasinan.
Oh, nice. I feel like I'm getting a lag in all these messages. Hold on. Okay. Oh, nice.
Oh, are you? Okay. But that's surprising. I'm in the Philippines, yo.
I know. So I think it's my internet. Right I was just like, okay. Well, hi, Jason.
Come on. We got Francis is from Quezon City and Cebu City. So Quezon City, okay. So from Metro Manila, and then we have Cebu City. Is that Cebu City like Visayas, Cebu City, Francis? Metro Manila, okay. Cebu City. Yeah, so you're a Visayan. Okay, we got Bacolod too. That's cool.
Oh, the chicken's so good. They have good chicken there. Yes, chicken in a salad. So good. I'm all foodie.
That's awesome. Okay, yes. That's great. Yeah, and have you guys? When was the last time you guys visited the Philippines? Obviously mine is right now. Before that was before the pandemic. How about you, Jen? I think you came home.
Yeah, 2019, literally a week before they shut down. So if I had stayed another week in the Philippines, I probably would have been stuck there. But I got the opportunity to be able to visit one of the non-for-profit organizations that is near and dear to my heart, which you and I have connected. One of the reasons we've connected, which is Gawad Kalinga. So I was able to visit the Chicago community, which is in Tolosa, and then also Enchanted Farm, as well. So that experience, if folks haven't had an opportunity to visit any of the Gawad communities, I definitely recommend that. It was a life changing experience, and it definitely solidifies my purpose and my why into in giving back to others.
That's
So yes,
awesome. Thanks for
yes.
sharing. It looks like Francis came last visited in 2015. Hoping you can visit soon, Francis. I mean, it's a little different now with all the COVID restrictions, but it's still a beautiful place to visit. As many of you know, we have Chachi, who's from Ilocos. Wow, proud Ilocana. That's awesome.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
I understand a little bit of Ilocano.
I wish I could say the same. It's quite hard to interpret. I know a few friends are Ilocana, or Ilocano. That's awesome. Okay,
Yeah, but you're pretty good at Bisaya, and I'm I'm impressed. Well, I guess I wouldn't tell the difference though. I probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference, so I'll just say you're good at it.
Okay, I can try. I'm like, hype me up, don't you? Carlo Rivera is from Ilocos Norte.
Oh, Tarlac. Oh, nice.
Wow, yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, Pampanga. They have some good cooks over there.
The food is good anywhere. I mean, honestly,
very
you guys
true,
know
very
this.
true.
The variety of things that we depending on the region of the Philippines or what part, the dialect is different, the culture is different, which I think that's what really is cool about being Filipino. We can adjust to depending on what we're brought up with. So we have very different, although we say we're Filipino or Filipinax or Filipina, it really varies on the experience that we've had with our family growing up. And so that's why I think this is such a fitting session to be with, is because it kind of highlights like how we experience ourselves as Filipinx Americans or whatnot, how you identify yourself, is how we really kind of gauge in conversation and in our professional and personal lives, right? And so that's awesome. I see people from January of 2019 to 2020. I know a lot of us literally didn't come and do any kind of international traveling before the pandemic, right? So it's been well, let me just say, from personal experience, it's very different traveling international now. So, but I'm just glad that I was able to make it safe here without any too much complication. But hopefully soon, I think everything will get back to normal.
So how was it for you quarantining in the Philippines? How was your experience since you're there right now?
It was very different. I mean, the process, if you think EDSA is bad with traffic, the airport traffic is even worse now. There's so many processes. You can't just get off the plane, get your baggage, and exit Ninoy Aquino or Naiya. You got to go through several steps, present your medical certificate, your negative PCR test. You can't do a rapid test. It has to be the negative PCR test. And then you're shuffle through this area where you do a briefing, and then you're put into this quarantine. So I was in quarantine for 5 of the 7 days, because once you test negative, you can do the rest of your quarantine at home. I'm putting that in quotes. Y'all know what I mean, quotes. I'm not gonna go.
We're just only live.
It was very different, but you do what you can. But yeah, it's the quarantine. It was nice for the first 3 days in quarantine because the hotel made us feel comfortable at home. But you get some cabin fever from 2020, and you're just get me out of here right now. But
I mean, can you go out to eat? How's that?
No,
are you no?
You have, well, in our hotel facility, in our quarantine facility, there was a Philippine Coast Guard that would walk the halls. They would take turns, obviously, in shifts, where you would literally, I probably shouldn't say it the way I'm describing it, but you're not allowed to leave your room. Let's just say it in nicer terms.
You can't even roam the hotel. It's a hotel, right? You can't roam it. Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's very different, but I mean, they're trying to be safe. They're doing their best when they think would be to keep safe the Filipino people, which is awesome. I mean, you can only do what you can, and you just gotta abide with it, unless But yeah, it's very different. But so That's my experience in the Philippines, I guess. Oh, look who's
Oh, look who's showing
hello! Our
up!
blessed daughter is going to join us as well. Hello, Dr. Abby.
Hi,
Hi,
Dr.
hi.
Abby.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Yes, we
I think so.
can.
Oh,
Can you hear
okay.
us?
Yes, I'm sad I missed all the fun stories though.
Oh well, you'll definitely have time to kind of introduce yourself to us and let us know where you're at.
Oh, okay. All right. Hi, everybody. It's so nice to be here. I got out a little bit early so I could come in. I'm here in the Tampa Bay area, here in Florida, in the United States, and I I'm just looking where people are from all over the place. So this is so cool. I was kind of listening and I'm excited. And I'm really most excited about all of you to hear this message because it's a message that needs to go to all parts of the globe. And so I'm
Hmm.
going to challenge you now. Everything you hear here in PhilPro, you don't just listen for yourself, okay? This is the Filipino culture. It's kapwa, community, to help each other. So yes, internalize it, learn, change yourself, but I want you to also go out there and help others learn what you learned because they're not all here on this conference or they're in the other session. So that's just my challenge coming into this. Do you want me to just jump right into the PowerPoint?
Yeah, let's jump right in. What do you? Yeah, Gene, do you agree?
Sure. I
You
mean,
can
Cool.
say the
I'd
bio.
like to, I'd actually like to formally introduce her if that's
Yes,
okay.
Yeah, go
sure,
ahead.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's okay. So, again, wanted to welcome everyone to this Speak Up Enough, dear Dr. Abby session. It's with great pleasure that I introduce you to our special guest speaker for today. It's Dr. Abby. She is an industrial organizational psychologist who speaks on assertiveness communication strategies related to culture and the bamboo ceiling. Her research on 473 Filipino Americans in 35 states in the US revealed that the Filipino values conflict with assertiveness. This research sparked Dr. Abby's mission to help Filipino Americans learn their values and assertiveness. Dr. Abby earned a PhD in industrial organizational psychology and a master's of science in management at Kaiser University. She completed her bachelor's degree in communication studies at Stetson University. Her and her husband have raised three children, Taylor, Christopher, and Ryan, in the Tampa Bay area, where they are leaders in the Filipino community. Dr. Abby is the current senior vice chairman of the Philippine Cultural Foundation. She is currently the director of student services at Everglade University in Tampa, and she has educated and trained in leadership for over 20 years and spent the past 11 years equipping students with proper skills to present themselves in their job search and the workplace. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Abby Hamilton.
All right, Dr.
Yay!
Abby.
All
Yay!
right. Thank you. Wow, that was a mouthful. Sorry, Jean. But you did an amazing job. Okay, I'm so excited to jump into this. Let's just so you know, guys, this is a lot of content, okay? It's a lot to take in and I'm going to kind of spit it all out here, a whole bunch of things to think about, but I really want you to also write down the little things that you that spark in your mind because this is a journey for you, okay? Uh and then we want to hear those things later because one thing you thought of needs to be heard by somebody else, okay? Ready? So yeah, I don't know if you had TEDx speaker on that bio because that was an older one, but I am doing a TEDx in December, and I'm
Yes.
really excited about it. And hopefully, you guys will find it in a few months on YouTube and be one of my likes because we want to spread this knowledge. You can go on my IG Abby Hamilton 333, and that will have all the announcements every day about the TED Talk. So, all right, let's just jump right in. So, what is the bamboo ceiling? What is that thing anyway? So, you all have heard of the glass ceiling, which is that barrier that minorities and women find as they're getting into the higher levels of their company. But the bamboo ceiling is the one for Asians. And a lot of people think that it's because that the leaders of the companies are saying, oh, we don't want any of them, or they'll never be good enough. But really, it might be a combination of that. It's also part of our our uh, package, I guess you could say. Jane Hyun wrote a book called Breaking the Bamboo Ceiling, where she talks specifically about how Asians have this self inflicted barrier because of our culture. Our culture is teaching us something that is keeping us from having the characteristics that we need to move up. And I know this is very sensitive for some people. They're like, "What? What's that's not even true." But let's just go there. Okay, we're gonna go there. Let's just go through this. So you guys heard my you heard my bio already. Yeah, I'm over here at Everglades University. I'm empowering my students every single day to believe in themselves and to get out there and get jobs. So I'm constantly in that field, and I just got my PhD, and I speak in this space now, just like you're about to hear. This is this is my family. I'm a second generation Filipino American. My parents are immigrants from the Malabon and Manila, and they came here to New York, and then I ended up in Florida where I grew up. But in this place, I grew up from my parents. I learned their strict culture. You'll see my dad is wearing his bishop's cassock here, and the bishop. He's a bishop of the Aglipayan Church, if you're familiar with that. So priests can marry. That's why he's a bishop and a dad at the same time. Okay, and then I went out into the Filipino culture. I learned from my titos and my titas. I learned our traditions. I learned about respect. I learned about uh, helping and all these things. And I wanted to be really great at these values that they taught me. And then I ended up in the work world. And I found that in the work world, it, there's something else that I need that I didn't grow up learning. And there were these other people around me that were more forceful and more push the envelope, direct kind of people, but I wasn't one of them. So I didn't understand, what was I supposed to do? Uh, I wondered, does our culture affect how assertive we are? How am I ever going to speak up if I'm, manapo? I'm, all of these different things. I, I want to be a good girl. I want to be a good person, but I also need to be assertive. And so, in order to study this, I did my study with 473 Filipino Americans in 35 states and found specifically that it's true. The higher people scored in the Filipino interpersonal norms, the lower they scored in their assertiveness. Wow. And you should know it's vice versa too. There were Filipino Americans who had high assertiveness. And then we looked and their interpersonal norms were lower. Wow. So this is really statistically significant. In psychology and research, you have to show that it's statistically significant in order to to assert this. So what is it that we do then? We just have to say, "Oh, well, I guess I'm never going to get the raise. I'm never going to get the job. I'm never going to get the promotion. This is just the way that I am." No, there's actually something to do. First thing we need to do is we need to recognize when these things are happening. So I'm about to tell you these things, and you guys are going to nod your head. I know you're going to say, "Oh, yes, I do that. Oh, that's true." Okay. When I was growing up, I just thought this is what my crazy parents did. And then I saw that my other Filipino friends, their crazy parents did the same thing. Then when I got into my doctorate, I was like, finding it in the textbook. Dr. Kevin Nadal, he wrote the Filipino American Psychology, which all of these are in there, and I'm reading this textbook and I get the goosebumps. I'm like, this is textbook. Okay, so are you ready? If you don't know these already, then now I'm going to change your life. All right, here we go. Utang na loob. This is debt of the heart. This is where you feel obligated to repay a favor. So if someone owes you money or lends you money, you have to pay them back, but then you also have to go to their kid's birthday party. You also have to help them move. You have to there's like more. There's a debt of the heart that you owe. And then we also have this with our parents. They gave birth to you, they sacrificed, they fed you, they, changed your pampers, and then then later on you're going to be changing their pampers. Yeah, so this is part of our culture. And what we have to find though is when it's stealing our joy and when it's it's starting to hurt our lives. So recognize it, appreciate it as a good part of our culture, but then notice when there's a need to assert yourself. So we're going to bridge that, put those together later. Filipinos avoid confrontation. Okay, if someone's bullying them, a lot of times, if they're high in those Filipino interpersonal norms, they're like, oh, that's okay. I understand. And even though this lady right here, can you see my cursor? Yeah. Can you see my cursor? She's totally wrong. And she's bullying him or telling him he's doing something wrong, but he was good. So you're taught, do not answer me, right? Your parents, do not answer me. Just listen. And so you go into the work world like that. In relationships, a lot of times you don't want to go to that ugly place, so you just stay quiet and then it gets worse. And when at work, if everybody's giving you a whole bunch to do, you're like, I have to be a good Filipino and with my strong work ethic, I can't like say no. Filipinos don't say no, right? We want to obey, we want to comply, we want to be accepted by others. Here it is. And we're afraid to question an authority's decision. um what happened when you were little, because I said so, like, but mom, and but dad, and they're like, no, because I said so. Yeah, and you're like, okay. And then hear what happens in the workplace. If your boss says something, you're in the back saying, that's totally not going to work. But maybe you don't want to say something. You're like, well, he's the boss. I'm telling you, this is what I used to say. They're the boss. They're in charge. Will do what they say, even though I'm smart enough to know that's not going to work. So I need to speak up. And then, yeah, that's what my TED Talk's all about. Okay, needing to please others. We need to be approved by others. It feels good when others are impressed with us, right? Look, this is the land of the beauty queens, right? And we want to be known. We want to be have that personal honor, that pride of accomplishment, and uh, we know that everybody's rooting for us. So we have to meet those expectations. Your tito's like, oh, did you graduate med school already? And it's like you have all these people to impress, and in one sense, I'm not putting it down because in one sense, this is what keeps us going. I mean, it pushes us to go further, but at some point, there's a time to assert yourself, okay? And then here, okay, this is also related to amor proprio, shame. You have an emotional suffering when you're not living up to those standards. So in this picture, we have like a couple that's dealing with financial issues, and they're like, I'm not going to, don't tell anybody. Just pretend that our lives are okay and just keep going. And then this guy over here on the right, he's dealing with some major things, but he's not going to dare show it to anybody else. We have to put up a front and keep that smile, and everything's okay. And I mean, there's something to be said about the nobility of resilience, yes, but we also need to find the opportunities to speak up. So notice when these things are happening. We're totally controlled by what people think. What will your aunties think? What will the church people think? What will the teachers think? What will the neighbors think? Right? You can hear that voice. And in one sense, of course, you don't want to go out to work with a big stain on your shirt because, that looks bad to other people. And then you have standards for yourself. So that's a good thing. But if it starts to really play on your mental health, we need to have a talk. There's some talking to do here. And I mean, I'm getting stressed out watching this guy who's disappointed with me. Look at his face. He's so disappointed. Let's get off that slide. All right. We don't like to say no to people. Pakikisama is going along with others so that you can make the group's decision unanimous. You're like your friends are like, let's go out. I don't know, let's go axe throwing, and you're like, that's not my thing. No, you're like, okay, let's go see a movie that I don't think is good or proper appropriate, or I don't like scary movies, but you suffer and you go through because you just don't want to rock the boat. You know, you don't ever want to say no to a boss who's like if everyone at work is saying a certain thing, you don't want to be the one person to say no, no. I'm I don't think we should do that. You just go along. What did your parents say? Just do it. Just go with them, right? And it's hard. And then avoids complaining. If you go to the restaurant, something's not right, you you're like, "That's okay. I'll just eat it." Right? A lot of us sometimes, we don't have the assertiveness to say something. At some point, you matter too. You're important. If you wanted a certain thing, you should get that certain thing. It doesn't make you a snob. It just makes you a customer. So avoid complaining. They, we don't like to. At work, no way. If we're really holding on to those strong interpersonal norms, we would never be like this lady here, pointing out something and being mad. So Filipinos also sacrifice to give others, and I love this picture here because sometimes we'll even let coworkers succeed beyond us, even though we could have been number one. There's something to say about humility, or that's okay, just let him take the credit. That's another thing. Yeah, they're taking credit for something you did, and you're like, that's okay, we're all a team. But who's going to get the raise? Not you. Not you. That's what this is, the bamboo ceiling, right? And then also, of course, I'm never going to tell you to disregard a woman on the bus, but it is part of our culture. Just, I know you guys have let an elderly person sit where you could sit. So, and then here are some realities. And as you raise your awareness and hear these things, you'll start thinking about it. Do me a favor, make sure after this you talk to people about it. Go, hey, what do you think about colonial mentality? Hey, what do you think about model minority myth? So, colonial mentality is basically based on the fact that we were colonized for 300 years by Spain and 49 years by America, and they brought in the different a different culture than we had, like Catholicism. They brought in language, they changed our family roles. They also brought in education. They made us want to have lighter skin. So it's now up to us to be aware of when we're putting down what we have. Let's say, for example, we're born with this skin, right? And when we start to change it to be lighter because we think we need to be something else, we think colonial mentality is based on the fact that you think that the culture of the colonizers is superior to your ethnicity, the culture of your ethnicity. So embrace your own culture and um, don't let that make you suffer. I have this picture here because it reminds me of people I know who say, why do I have to look like this? All the blonde haired girls at school are getting the boyfriends. Why do I have to look like this? When people see me, why do I have to bring lunch to work that smells bad? Why do I have weird customs? I don't like my culture anymore. And you feel like you're stuck being in this inferior state. Oh gosh. Hmm. It's sad. It's sad. But let's raise our awareness so when it happens. Model minority myth. This is when everyone thinks that you automatically are going to do way better than everybody else. They think you can do better than this, and they hold you to the higher standard. So let's say, for example, your teacher expects you to get 100%, 100%, and you get 99. You are disappointment. But the other person who got an 85, good job. Thumbs up. Same thing at work. Sales quotas. I'm like, what's the deal with this Asian that I just hired? I thought for sure he'd meet all his sales quotas. Don't they have strong work ethic? I mean, aren't they the smartest people in the world? And then you become a disappointment when you're just human. So when you notice that this is happening, we need to assert ourselves and we need to stand up for the value that we bring, whether it's a 99 or an 85, because we are still valuable and we are not less than if we get a 99. Oh, I love this picture. Perpetual foreigner syndrome. Okay, so if you've never heard of this before, this is basically where when you walk into a room and you look different than everybody else, They will automatically apply upon you every single thing they know about other people who look like you. So, oh, look, that girl's Asian. I bet she's really smart. She's really good at math because I went to school with another Asian kid who was good at math, or oh, they do weird things, or oh, they're going to do really well in this job. Whatever it is, they will place upon us what they know about our culture. It's human nature for them because of the visual, right? If you see something, if you go into a restaurant that's all yucky, then you would maybe think their food there is going to be bad, right? If it's all messy and old and broken, everything's broken, the chairs and everything, you would expect that. So it's kind of human nature. But here's the thing, this is Josh Dela Cruz, and he is the star of Blues Clues and You. And one of the best things I love about that is that he said that when he was little, he would watch these shows just like Blues Clues, and he would think that he was watching someone else's world. And then now he's on the screen for the whole entire show. This is our world now. This is our world now. So, and he also talks about a quote where this little boy who was Asian was watching Blue's Clues and You, and he said, "Mommy, mommy, that guy looks like me." This is happening. It's totally happening, and this world is starting to shrink, and we're all starting to become part of each other's world. So I love that this is happening. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you, as you are aware of all these different things, find your times that you should express yourself. And I'm going to tell you the 6 main ways, techniques that you can assert yourself, along with some examples. All right. The first one is express. Sometimes we don't even get that far. Like we cannot drive 2 hours to our mom's house to help her change the air filter of her air conditioner because we have a whole bunch of things to do, and for 2 hours someone else can do it. All right. So just express your needs or wants or opinions or feelings, and express them with I statements. I need this. I need you to tell me when you're feeling this way. I feel like I have a lot of stress right now. I want to come and change your air filter next week when I'm going to be there anyway. I like when this happens. I would like for you to do this. So use your I statement, and it might seem hard, but recognize when your joy is being pulled away, when your mental health is being affected, and try the I statements. Then understand the other person's feelings as well as your needs. So, for example, if you're telling your child, and I know someone, I think it is Luella, she said that she has a little one, so she's trying to figure out how to be more assertive. And so, understand that maybe your child wanted to play. She was planning on or painting. She was planning on painting all afternoon, and all of a sudden you're saying, "Come on, we're going to the grocery store." So you can say, "I understand. I know that you'd love to paint. We're going to go and go to the grocery store real quick so we have something for dinner and we'll be back." So you recognize the other person's feelings as well as your needs. And as you use these I statements, you say, "I recognize that this is making you upset and I would like for us to talk more about it. I know that you have an agenda, and it's important that we have this, that we go shopping at this time." So the I statements, and then understanding the other person's point of view. Changing behavior. This is when the person is not considering your rights anymore. So when I think often of if you and a friend are at a restaurant, and at some point that friend is starting to get loud in a restaurant. And you're like, "Please don't do that in this restaurant." And then you have to finally present the consequence. You say, if you continue to speak like that, then I will need to leave. And then you leave. I mean, the if then I used to do with my children. If you guys keep acting like this, we are leaving Disney World right now. And I had to do it That's the other thing. You have to follow up. Don't you dare stay at Disney after you said you were going to leave. You have to present the consequence, and they will get the message. That's the big thing about all of these, is that the other person will start hearing you, even though you think that's just an if then statement. It's just an I need statement. The other person will. And there's one trick here that I'm going to tell you about that really works along with all these. So this one, clarify. When there's a contradiction or a discrepancy, right? We agreed that you were going to help us um, move out of the house this afternoon, and you didn't show up. This is what happened. You didn't show up. I just want to clarify exactly what happened. Even if you have to call T-Mobile and say, "Hey, T-Mobile, the agreement was that I was going to get a refund for last month's overcharge, and I haven't received the refund." If you talk to a boss, I it was understood that I was supposed to get a bonus in my check this week, and this is what happened. I didn't get the bonus. I just would like to clarify. That is a nice version of getting angry. You want to get angry? You're like, this is what we agreed on. This is what happened. Please help me. Please help me with this. And then you'll still get your end answer. You'll better than if you got angry. Share when you feel angry, hurt, or resentful. And the way you do that is you describe the action. Earlier, when you threw the bowl on the kitchen counter, explain how this affects you. I felt threatened, or I felt afraid. Describe your feelings. I'm feeling that this reminds me of what my father used to do. And then state an alternative for the future. So say, when you get upset about something, would you please not throw a bowl on the counter? So when you do that, you're not actually saying, you're you're an awful person, or whatever bad words you want to say there, right? Um, you really want to say that, but you could say, this is what has happened, and this is how it made me feel. Next time, can we do this differently? And then this is one of my favorite. I mean, you can use this tonight. um, my daughter works at a school, and she does this with the middle schoolers. Middle schoolers are the toughest. You have to repeat things like 15 times, and then they get the message. Maintain the same message. Do not escalate your tone. Be prepared to repeat. And here's my example. The toxic tita who decides that she wants to tell you every single time she sees you how fat you are, right? This is the thing. This is the thing. I know you are so healthy, Abby. Abigail, you are so healthy, right? So you say, Tita, should I say her real name? No, I'll just say Tita. Tita, please, can you please not say that? It just kind of makes me feel uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable when you say that. And then you know what they're gonna say? Oh my goodness, Abigail, you're so sensitive, right? That always happens. But you have to just say, please don't do that. Then the next time she sees you, oh, so healthy, and then they squeeze your arm. That is the worst, right? And then they, oh, you're so healthy, huh? And then they tell you to eat, right? Okay, so then you say, Tita, could you please not say that next time? It really just makes me very sensitive. And then after you do it enough times, they'll say, oh, Abby. And then you go, oh, and then they'll say, oh, Abigail does not like me to say she is healthy, and then it's done. They'll get the message. It's annoying that you have to do it that many times, um, but it really helps. Even if you have to assert yourself and say, I mean, this happened to me one day. We were supposed to get a hotel discount one day, and because we went to a wedding, right? When there's a wedding, sometimes there's a block and there's a discount for the hotel. So I said, this we were here for this wedding. There's a discount for the wedding. I would like to have that discount. And they're like, well, because of the hotel, blah, blah, blah. And I said it, that we are here for the wedding. This is the discount for the wedding. We would like that discount. And you just say it. You could say it in different ways, be a little creative, but you get your point across. It really, really works. So now that you know these different things, I want you to just not be stuck in the whole like, oh, yes, tita, or okay, I don't really want to, but I will. I want you to decide what kind of person do you want to be? Look at this girl. She's so free. She's so happy. You can be like that too. You're not stuck in this, especially the biggest thing here is when you're in a cross of cultures. If you're in a culture that is very forceful and direct, and your culture is not like that, you have to break out. And the way to break out is assertiveness. I want to encourage you to go to my you could hear all about these things and all the little stories and all the just a breakdown of all these different things on my YouTube channel, which you can access by going to speakupanak.com, and you can watch them again and again. It's so crazy. One of my friends from California was like, he was having the worst day ever. Something had happened, and my face came up on his YouTube feed. He watched it, and he lost it because it was a direct fit for exactly what he was experiencing. Guys, if not for yourself, do it for other people. If you're not in this situation, learn it and share, because there's so much growing. I mean, I have to go back and watch some of them because I didn't assert myself with someone. It's so real. So speakupanak.com, and it's all on my I have a booth in the Phil Pro booth section. You can go there and click on all the different links for all the videos, um and also, I will put in there too, after this, I'll put in a link so you guys could actually listen to the sneak peek of my TED Talk, which I'm going to be doing on a Zoom on November 12th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So, I'm not really telling the whole world about it, but if you want to watch the Zoom, my movie-like recording of the TED Talk, you can watch that and then support. So, thank you so much, everybody. I hope to see you on Instagram. If I haven't already followed you on Instagram, let's stay connected so that we could build this community and learn, 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 and grow, grow, grow. Thank you so much. And now I want to definitely hear all of your questions and all of your thoughts. And I'll let Jean and Everett moderate through all of that.
Thank you so much. Let's give Dr. Abby a
Thank you,
round of
Dr.
applause.
Abby.
That was so wonderful, so like helpful. Yes, I like one of our participants that triggered. Yes, every day,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and I'm getting a lot of that triggered thing. Okay, so what's going to happen now? Okay, you get triggered during this time. You're like, "Ooh, that felt so uncomfortable." But then what's going to happen now? Are you just going to be like, "Whew, let me go get a drink. That was tough." And then that's it? I hope not. I
Mm,
hope that you really like journal or something so that you can go, this is what I has just gone through my head and my heart. And
mm,
I want to make sure that this doesn't just fester.
right.
I am going to make a point to assert myself. I'm going, you know, I've had to listen and do these talks so many times before I really started applying it. And I mean, I'll tell you, the bowl thing happened the other day. You know, the bowl on the kitchen counter. And I
Mhm.
remember I was like, at first I was like, oh no, he didn't. And then I was like, oh, this is happening. I'm going in. This is happening. And I said something, but I mean, could I have gone through the rest of my life never saying something about that bowl? Yes. But would that happen again in my relationship? Yes. So how about, and the thing is, my husband and I feel so invigorated by this new like spunky Abby, where like, woo, she's just a little firecracker, because now we can have these conversations, and it's a whole, I mean, we've been married 26 years, so you have to communicate through that, and it's leveling up right now.
So
So
Yeah.
for you, just curious, like growing up, was it really hard for you to speak up, or was it like what is it that
yeah,
What's
wanted
I
you
was like,
to
helpful?
kind of sparked all this
yeah,
to write about
hmm
it, to do
good
research about
question.
it? Yeah.
So I was a lot like you, Gina. I was very talkative.
I'm shy, but most people don't believe
See,
me.
that's the thing. See, did you get in trouble in school for talking? Yes, you
Oh,
did. I know
yeah,
you did.
in high school I did. High school,
Yeah.
but not in grade school.
Okay. I got
I
in
got kicked
trouble
out
for
of the
talking.
library. I got kicked out of the library once.
See? See? Yeah.
I probably
Yeah.
shouldn't share this. It's
Yeah.
recorded.
Yeah. So, yeah, growing up, I was the bishop's daughter, oh, and the daughter of doctora. So it was like you had to be super well behaved. So I did what I was supposed to do until like a few different times as I grew up in the Filipino community. Oh, this is a big one. I don't think I've said this really out in public, but as I grew up in the Filipino community, it was always like you are little Abigail, you don't know anything. And then I was like, I'm like 30 something years old. I mean, at that time, I'm way more older now. But I was like, I'm a grown up and I've been doing Santa Cruzans for like 18 years. Okay. So, and because I was the assistant to the Santa Cruzan director, and for 18 years of experience, uh, no one else out there has 18 years of Santa Cruzan experience. I mean, I don't think so. Anyway, and neither did the person who was correcting me. So that person said, Abigail, better to do it like this. And I was like, oh, no, 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 because I know already that it won't work that way. It's going to be a big mess if I try to do it like that. So normally it would be like, oh, Tito says I have to do it like this. I don't like it. But I had to say that day, I had to say, oh, thank you for your feedback. We're going to be doing it like this year, Tito. And then I had to just stick with that. Of course, my heart was beating so fast, and I was like wanting to just scream in the bathroom. And then other times it came up again. And then here in the workplace, I got promoted to a higher position. And in this higher position, I had come up, and this is in my TED talk, I had come up with this plan exactly like the best way. And I had worked through every scenario, every different way that I could change this. And I came up with the best plan. And I brought it to my boss, who said, I wouldn't have done it like that. And I was like, okay, I'll change it. And then I was like, I can't make any more changes. So I went back to her and I was like, these are the reasons why it has to be like this. And I mean, I was like shaking. Yeah. And then my heart was beating so fast. I mean, and she said, okay. And she told me later, I was smiling to myself like that's the Abby that I've been looking for. But I didn't know. I didn't know I could. So then when I did my study and I was like, whoa, this is a real thing. It's not just me. Then it was finally like, I have to tell the world. This isn't just made up stuff. And now, like, those of you who are here and you're like trigger, that right there is a confirmation. This is real. It's really real. And also I'm hearing that it's the same for Filipinos in Australia and in Canada and other places too, not just the United States.
I
So,
mean, it was so interesting in your presentation, Dr. Abbey, is that really when you have a cross cultural, home base or experience, you really struggle with that internally, and you kind of just go through like, okay, what is the right thing, right, quote unquote, right thing to do, and
mm,
what was so impressive about your presentation, and even in your content that I've been able to learn from Speak Up Anak, is really the different tools of being assertive. Because when we think of as an assertive as a Philippine, having Filipino background, is that it has to be the only definition is confrontation, right? That's the
yeah,
first word that but as you have presented to us this morning, is that there's different ways to kind of gear depending on the situation, whether you express it or you recognize the other person's and validate them and for what their needs are. There's different ways to kind of be assertive, right? More subtly, but yet direct at the same time. So I'm
yeah,
sure,
yeah.
yes, I really
And
appreciate
these are all lines from my TED talk, so they come up. But the definition of assertiveness is really a communication that is firm
that.
yet still calm and respectful. See, aggressiveness is that mean, ugly, rude way. And we think that it's either passive or aggressive. That's it. You're like, okay, or no, I will not do it your way. Mm-mm. Assertiveness, but the thing is, assertiveness is harder. Just think about it. If you get angry, it's easy to just be like angry, right? Or if
Yeah.
you get angry, it's for some people it's just like it's okay, just let them go. And you cry, right? I cry all the time. But assertive would be like, okay, I'm going in. The heart's beating fast. I don't, I could just go to sleep tonight without saying anything about the bull. I could just do what my boss says and then just think to myself, it's not the best, but um, I went there and shaking like I just showed you, I did it. And so we have to make a point. I mean, unless you just don't want a raise or a promotion, it's not just the raise job and the promotion. You know what it is too? The best open relationships where you can communicate and you feel like amazing with that person because you're like, we
Yeah.
can conquer the world together
Mhm.
because we can talk through anything. I mean, after 26 years, you would think it's kind of hard to like reignite this like new like what is it called, the is it kilik where you like feeling
Lit.
all
Yeah.
like
Butterfly people.
and I'm like, yeah, right, so
Like,
I'm
is
like
it like the feels? Is that what you like? You get the feels of
yeah,
like, yeah.
like I love this person. Why? Because I just finally said something instead of resenting the fact that he wants to watch a show I don't want to watch on TV. You know what I mean? I'm like, we have a good relationship. We're going to talk about this and we're going to come up with a plan and we're going to respect each other. Like, I'm going to respect the fact that you might want to watch something other than football right now, and then we come up with a plan. And so it's just cool. It's just so cool. Yeah. And
Quick
with your
follow-up.
parents. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Sorry. With your parents. I have my communication with my mom. My dad's passed away, but is like crazy, crazy awesome. My kids. My kids. Crazy awesome because my kids are 19, 22 and 25 right now. So like that you got to communicate and it's just wonderful. Sorry, what was your question?
Oh no, no, that's perfect. That's a great segue to my follow-up question. I mean, in your research and from the presentation, do you see a significant I guess pattern in terms of intergenerational assertiveness, right? I mean,
Mhm.
of the your presentation kind of geared towards the generation of youth and how to be assertive towards our elders. But is there somewhat an intergenerational between adults, right? Our parents or our parents' parents? Like, is there a level
Yeah.
that how do you kind of reconcile that?
Yeah, well, everybody's pattern is different because there are people who are like 30. Some of them are still 100% submissive to their parents, and the 30-year-olds might be 100% assertive. Yeah, assertive with their parents, right? So we're all at different levels. It's not so much age or generation, it's their individual journeys. So yeah, all the youth, if the youth who are in this, and if you are mentoring youth, the thing is to challenge people to look within, to understand their own feelings and their own desires and their own. If you are at a point where you're resenting the people that you love, there's assertiveness that needs to happen. Okay, and the resent comes from the fact that someone wants you to have a career that you don't want, or not date the person that you want, or um, go join them in the volleyball. I don't want to do volleyball on, mom, or whatever it is, or you talk to them respectfully and you say, mom, these are some things that I wanted to talk to you about. This is how I'm feeling. And then your parents, no parent wakes up in the morning and says, today I want to be an awful parent. No, they want to, they'll say at one point, Abigail, she does not like to be called healthy. Like they'll get it. They'll see because you respectfully. Now, if you said, I wish you would stop, that's what did they call it? Body shaming, right? That's totally body shaming. Then you resent them. It's just about being aware in whatever age you're in. I mean, I know 60-year-olds who can't even assert for themselves. So, and then in the journey, As far as here, if you're one of these people on the in between like me, raised by immigrant parents knew a certain way. Then they raised their children, me, to be the way they knew. Now I'm supposed to go out here in this work world. 1965 was when the Immigration Act allowed more Filipinos and Asians to come back and come into the United States, right? So we're not even here 100 years yet. So the children of those 1960s, 1970s immigrant parents are the ones who are just now reaching the high levels of their company, and we're finally saying, okay, ready for my promotion, and then we're like, wait, what's happening, right? So this is a brand new thing that's happening in this, I guess, decade or 2 decades. um, and so it's the best time for us to be examining from within and finding our voice. Too many people out there are worked for their companies now all this time. They're getting paid less than I had a girl for she worked for a Fortune 500 company. She is now the director of marketing for one of these big companies, right? But she said that when she was in the lower ranks, she never advocated for herself. It took her 10 years. She finally got promoted. When she got promoted, she found out that the people who were working beside her in that other level were making $10,000 more than she was making at that time.
Wow.
And so
Yeah.
she was like, everybody listen to Dr. Abby because I don't want you to deal with the 10 years that I had to deal with. You know, get out there, say things in your meetings. And youth, get involved, get into GK, right? Become
Yes.
leaders, start talking, you're here. You're in PhilPro right now, which means that you're dedicated to you know that there's something more to have, right? So definitely grow from this. Don't just eat your Takis and and don't just eat your Takis and go, okay, what is this all about, right? Like,
Yeah, run with it,
w-
run with it, you know.
yes,
Um,
yes.
well, that's a great kind of segue too to another one of our participants, Sweeney Montanola. She asked a question. Yes, there you go.
Oh,
What are the
nice.
most effective first few steps to unlearn the fear of speaking up because of cultural upbringing? So, can you
Okay, what
tell
are
us?
the most effective? Okay, let's take that apart.
Okay.
What okay, what are the most effective first few steps to unlearn the fear of speaking up because of cultural upbringing? Ah, exactly. First of all, being here. So, congratulations.
Yay.
Second is to recognize when it's happening. So, we talked about pakikisama, utang na loob, hiya, amor propio, right? And there's more to know about them. Understand when it's happening. I mean, hopefully, after we talk here today, in the next few days, something will happen and you're going to be like, oh my goodness. A- And I know it because it was happening to me where I was like, oh my goodness, this is one of those moments. And should I say something in this moment? So the first thing is maybe you might go a few months or weeks recognizing it. Maybe you won't quite go in. Then, if I were you, I would review. Um, do I even have this? Is this going to be available for you to let me know if you would like the PowerPoint. I'll send it to you. Review the techniques, okay? And I'm writing my book, Speak Up Anak, which is going to have everything that we just talked about. Um, it's going to have the 6 ways to assert. It's going to have the cultural values, and it's going to have the explanation of like perpetual foreigner syndrome and all that. So the first few steps is definitely recognize when it's happening, and then equip yourselves with techniques. Oh, actually, there is a course called thewordwallet.com. It's $10 right now, so nice and easy. And actually in that there's a PDF you can download, and it folds up and so that you can put it in your wallet, and it has little like the beginning words of sentences to assert yourself in five or six different scenarios or five or six different ways. It's really cool. Um, I know it's so good because after I made it, I was like, whoa, where's that thing? Because not just for me, but when I was talking to one of my students, he was talking about a situation he was having, and I'm like, oh my goodness, let me pull this thing out. And I showed him, this is what you should say. And he's like, can I keep this? Because when you're nervous about speaking up, you want to have that thing to pull out. It fits in your cell phone case, so you could like slide it in between the phone and the case, and it's just this nice little piece of paper. And you pull it out when you're ready, and you're like, which one of these am I going to use right now? And so get the tools, get the awareness, and get the tools.
Awesome.
Yeah, we actually have another comment and a question. This is actually coming from Josephine. I call her Joji. But she mentions, dear Dr. Abby, this is a great session. Do you conduct sessions with adult Filipinos, especially the first generation FilAms?
Mm. I don't right now, but I have what I'm doing because I was doing seminars and timing was always an issue. Like everyone's like, "Oh, I want to join, but I can't. I'm not available that day, that day, that day." So right now what I'm doing is I'm putting it into bite-sized pieces on my YouTube. So if you go to speakupanak.com, it will redirect you to my YouTube. I actually have like a job seekers guide series that's happening right now. But I really like the first gen FilAms. I could do a series on that. The first gen FilAms. There's a lot of stories there, especially the ones who the parents left them in the Philippines. The parents left them in the Philippines to come make money here, and then what kind of person do they end up there? So that's huge. But thank you so much, Joji.
Yeah, I mean, another kind of. Did you have another comment, Gene? Or
No, no, no. Go ahead. No, go
oh,
ahead.
I kind of also kind of want to switch gears. I mean, in relation to assertiveness, I mean, as a young professional myself, in a corporate industry, and sometimes being the only person of color in the table that makes executive decisions, it is very hard to kind of navigate for, the set of colonial mentality kind of sets in, and
Mhm.
for me, I guess, experience imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
And so in terms of, how do you suggest and reconcile, how do we, when we are needing for something such as, asking for a raise, or presenting ourselves for a promotion, what do you think are the initial first steps to kind of
Mm,
open that door, that engage in that conversation with our
mm.
supervisors, to present ourselves
Yeah.
in a positive light, rather versus a confrontational angle.
Right. Like, what's your problem? Why aren't you giving me a raise already?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's see. Let's say there was a. I'm just gonna like make this simple, and but it's gonna seem silly. Okay. So you could say something like, "Boss, I have a pencil that needs to be sharpened, and I have this sharpener, and I wanted to bring up the idea of maybe that we take the pencil and we put it in a sharpener to make it sharp." And the boss would be like, I've been wanting to figure out how to sharpen this pencil. Thank you for bringing that up, right? It's a solution, and in some cases they just need to be reminded.
Hmm.
And so what you're basically saying is, hey, boss, I've been working here for 5 years. I've been learning such amazing things and really growing in the department. And I feel like based on all the knowledge that I have, plus the additional courses I've been taking on the side or just getting my master's degree, I, I would like to ask you to consider promoting me to that new position that's going to be coming up next year or next month, in a couple of months in Q4. um, the thing is, he still has to figure out who to consider. Maybe he never would have considered you before, but then he's like, you know what? I didn't. Totally forgot you got your master's degree. Or, you know what? You're right. As I look back over your record, you've like really killed it in the first 5 years you were here. So, thanks for coming. Get your resume from me, and I'll tell you this. you're going to feel weird, but you're really just telling him how to solve the problem he had. Um, and you know what is going to happen? I'm telling you this right now. If you don't do it, someone who's less qualified than you are is going to say it and get that job that was supposed to be yours. So you have to. You're actually robbing the company of the opportunity of becoming a better company by being all scared and selfish in your own little office while the little low man, not so smart man, is getting it. Okay? So never let it be said of a Filipino that we don't want to be a solution, that we don't want to help the company, right? That we don't want to make things better. We do want to make things better. So if I tell you that you are being a traitor to your company by not asking for that promotion, then you'll be offended. And you'll be like, oh, I can't be a traitor. So but then you have to at least know that you have what it takes to have that job. Not be like, hey boss, I haven't really done very much. Can you promote me? You have to make sure you have the backing and just remind them, hey, I'm here. A lot of people don't say that.
Something that I actually tell myself in my head when I'm about to do something like that, when I'm approaching something for like a razor, for example, something that I always think is, okay, if I don't ask, it's a definite no. But if I do
Yeah.
ask, there's an opportunity to be able
That's right.
to, yeah. So that's one of
Hmm.
the things that I tell myself sometimes, to really be like, to take action, to be able to be more assertive. Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, even in the littlest things, like for example, we would go to a restaurant um, and then I'd be like, this steak would be so cool with blue cheese crumbles on top. And then my friend would say, they don't do that. I'm like, you can ask, or one time my boss asked me if I could come in on a Saturday. And I was like, oh no, if I come in on Saturday, I had a whole bunch of things I needed to get done this weekend. I am losing an entire day. And my coworker was like, ask for Friday off. And I was like, what? Like I'm going on record as being the yes, I will work for you Saturday, my boss. And then the person said just ask. And my boss really just needed a manager on duty that Saturday, right? So to her, to lose me on Friday wasn't like a stretch or anything. It was still getting her to her solution. So she's like, "Yes, take Friday off." I'm like, I almost worked Friday and Saturday. No, I get Friday off. I get Friday off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I'm constantly putting, even still today. I had something the other day. I was like, "Do you think my boss will let me go?" And because it's the Filipino, I just don't want
Yeah.
to
Mm.
ask, 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 ask,
Yeah.
ask. And that's why I didn't ask for to get off at 7:30 today. I was like,
Yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah.
I could have asked to get off at 7:30, but you guys have been great for me to be here. But yeah, you ask and you'll receive, and maybe if there's something to say too about being one of these people who's like, hey, could like I had a friend who, if I bought a shirt at the mall on the way home from the mall, they'd be like, "Can I have your shirt that you just bought?" Like that's gutsy, and I one time I said yes, but I'm like, why?
Oh,
Why?
well, you're the person I should go shopping with because you're probably getting what you want.
You're like, awesome, I'm gonna get her clothes.
Yeah.
No, I really did.
Yeah.
See, just to think back about how not assertive I was and all that I endured, like that's your shirt. No, you keep your shirt. Go back to the mall, buy your own shirt, right? But I didn't. So
It's interesting. So, what was it that triggered you to be able to be like, I need to be more assertive? Like
it was,
yeah,
yeah. It was, I think the biggest part was when I was the dean of academic affairs where I
mm,
am. And that's the story that I told earlier with the project. And then
yeah.
over time I would be like, this is what I have to do. And it used to always be like, I was wondering if maybe do you think that you would consider possibly letting me whatever, like all those limiting words. And now I say, hey boss, I want to let you know I'm doing this, because now, I mean, I'm confident of the value that I bring, the knowledge that I bring. one of the things in my TED talk is I also say that you have to know your value. You have
Yeah.
to know your value and be
Yes.
confident. And I didn't know my value. What is my value? See here my lines from my TED talk. Um, I found the answer. Okay, I found the answer in a movie. If you've ever seen the movie The Help, where
No,
the
you're gonna have to give us
oh,
some context.
so this nanny, right, the colored nanny,
Oh yes, I.
told the little girl.
Mhm.
You probably saw the meme. Okay, so
Okay.
she took care of a little girl who was not being treated very nicely to with by her mother, but that nanny took responsibility of this little girl's self-esteem, and every single day she said, "You is smart, you is kind, you is important."
Hmm.
And the thing is, when I remember that when I go into work, and I had this one boss who just loved to berate everybody, I had to remind myself, guess what? I'm smart and kind and important. And when I woke up today, I intended to be a good person. And when I came to work, I intended to be a good employee. So I'm going to say to my boss, hey, boss, I want to do an amazing job here. Just tell me how. Show me how, so that it wasn't like, oh, he's right, I stink, I'm awful, which I believed. I really believed everything he said, and I felt like garbage, until I had to remind myself I'm smart, kind, and important. And so I now I feel amazing because I can I can assert myself. Okay, so tomorrow starts Phil Fest, right? I'm gonna be around all the toxic titas and titos, and
Mm.
and I am totally going there. But they know, like, this is my very first Phil Fest being Dr. Abby. So some of them know me, Doctor Abby. They know, and they are watching my videos too. So I'm excited to feel like I know something, to feel like I actually know something, that it's exhilarating, and it's definitely a breakthrough. And and I have to just be thankful too for the bullies in my life, because without them I would not have experienced this journey to become stronger and better. And so now and also I'm a better testimony to all of you guys who are listening to this, because you can hear the hurt that I still feel inside, and as I battle through that, and you can do it too. We can all do this together. Let's just keep the conversation going.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, yes, thank you so much. As some of our panelists have said, thank you so much, Dr. Abby, for being available. I mean, this has really been such eye opening. I mean, it's really an affirmation that we don't need to be the shy, very self reserved. That we can be assertive, we can be seen, and because we're smart, we're important, we're kind. And so, yeah, thank you so much for reminding us. And for everyone on the listening in to this panel, make sure you get connected to Dr. Abby. Visit her contact at speakup.anak.com, and you said it'll be rerouted to your YouTube account. Is
YouTube
that correct?
channel.
YouTube
Yeah,
channel.
and in here in PhilPro, there's a booth section. Click on
Yes.
booths up at the top. You can find my booth there, and that'll take you to all the different links, so you can see Instagram. I have videos all the time where I'm just talking about a little, thought for the day kind of thing, and you can actually go back to all of them. They're funny. My mom binge watches me.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've been
she
able to watch some of your videos. It's great.
Yes.
I
they're
really like some of
fun.
the like tips and um stories behind it. It's
Yeah.
really good.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, share it with your parents. I mean, I'll tell you this, my mom's like, I never learned so many things like that before, and she's like, oh, wow. And she calls me now, what should I do? I'm like, Mom. I'm like, but it's cool hearing someone from that generation say, I recognize that I am about to be toxic. Help me think of a better way to do this. So I also want to say, I mean, if you're in PhilPro, you're probably already very outspoken and looking to be a leader, but really start advocating for yourself. One of the things to do too is share with other people what you do well. Show other people your accomplishments. Usually
Yes.
you're like, I've done a whole bunch of things, and then I've done a whole bunch of things, but I'm not really gonna say it because I don't want to be braggy. No, I had a student. I
That's
had
a
a
good
student.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, one time I had a student call me, and I picked up the phone. This is Abby, and he was like, "Don't do that. You should say Dr. Abby. Don't you know it makes us feel special knowing that you accomplished this because we watched you do your doctorate, and you're robbing us of this joy. So you have to say it, and people will be honored. I just Sweeney, I just figured out you're Sweeney Meg. Oh, and she is amazing, and you should get on her Instagram. She's a force to reckon with, but she's a legend, and she's a legend in everybody's eyes. But she doesn't care about telling everybody in the whole world what she does and the fact that she's amazing and she's a role model to everybody else. You you inspire others. And so would you be happy not inspiring somebody, or would you want to inspire? Inspire by telling somebody your accomplishments. Guess what I did? And you know what? If in the workplace too, or even with your professors, if you're in school, other people are telling the professors or the bosses what they're doing, and the boss has no clue what value you bring. So you better start saying, "Can I
Right.
share with you something great that I did, that I experienced this week?" And that's what that Jane Hyun talks about that in Breaking the Bamboo Ceiling. She says you have to have your commercial ready. If the CEO is walking in through your office and says, "Hey, everybody, good job over here, good job over here. Nice to see you. I'll see you next time I come in town," right? And you could be like, they'll say, "How are you doing?" You usually say, "Good, good, we're good." No, you should say, "Actually, we just had a great fourth quarter, or sales are up, and we just landed a client that with something new that we did. I'd love to share that new thing with you." What? And then all of a sudden they're like, "What's your name again?" "Oh, Everett."
Mm.
"Oh, there's a guy on the second floor. His name's Everett. He's a powerhouse. I'm meeting with him next Tuesday. He's going to tell me his new idea," right?
Sure
We
will.
have we can't miss these opportunities.
Right.
And then also get your cheerleaders together. I'm just looking at Sweeney on here. She's one of my big supporters that has said, "Dr. Abby, you can do this." And yeah, I can, and she's seen me from when I wasn't doing a lot of these different things, and I've just been growing and growing from great supportive people like her who have told me, keep going, you need to. So build your tribe, is that what it is? Build your tribe and support each other.
I mean, like they say, if it's not you, if you're not advocating for yourself, who will, right?
Yes,
Very
exactly.
true.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but just
So
find the right way too. Not like, "And I am the president of the," you know what I mean? Uh, and also, it's not like that, but you could be like, you could say, "Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to see all the things that we're accomplishing for people, for their hearts to be changed and for their minds, and just the joy that they can have now because they were listening to my videos." You know what I mean? Like,
right.
it's a outpouring of your love, not a show off of like, "And I have a YouTube channel with, I don't know, I have like 75 subscribers right now." But you know what? I'm going to go to the moon. I'm going to go to the moon. I'm going to the Philippines first on Jollibee's dollar or something like that. Right? It is happening. That's my dream, to be
There you go.
sponsored to go to the Philippines for a year. So, but I'm we can do this. We can do it
Yeah.
together. And
Yes.
look, here I am on FilPro. I'm just telling you. I mean, I know we only have a few minutes left, but Kit is in charge of this thing, and I just met her on Clubhouse, and I was like, she said, Can you speak for this conference that I'm doing?" "Okay, sure, 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 whatever." And then I find out that it's FilPro. I'm like, "What?" And it's people like her that believed in me to be
Mm.
here. And is that you, Carlo? I see the print is so small. Hi there, Carlo.
Yeah, Carla Rivera.
Yes.
Oh, Justin's here and Cheryl. Oh, see, these are all my friends from Clubhouse.
Oh,
Oh, I
Yes.
love seeing who's here. I don't know if they're all still here, but oh,
there's quite a
see, I'm
few
so
as you've
encouraged.
gone through. Yes.
I truly
We're
feel
all fans
you.
of yours. I am totally so honored to be part of this panel with you and moderating your presentation. It's just quite an honor, and
Yes.
to learn more. I mean, thank you so much for giving your time to PhilProCon. I mean, it's been amazing. I hope you have continue and build with us in advocating for the things that you are passionate about. We want to be a part of that.
Yep. Definitely
Yes.
want to echo what Everett says. You're amazing. Love what you had said about being assertive, and it's just amazing to have personally met you and to have been part of this breakout session with you to share and to really uplift the Filipino community.
Yay. Now I have
And
two. I
likewise,
have more friends. Hmm?
yes, and likewise to our panelists, I mean to our participants here. Get
Yeah.
connected with Dr. Abby. I mean, like you said, you have a TED Talk that you're going to be zooming on November 2nd. Is that correct?
November 12th. So
Oh,
I'll
November
add that
12th. So
link to
sorry.
my booth. Yeah.
Okay, yes,
Add
there's a
that
link
link to
to.
my booth.
You're gonna be the.
And
It's
I
gonna be.
believe,
You're the very first Filipino that will be on the TED Talks in Tampa,
In
correct?
Tampa.
Yeah.
that's
So this is
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
exciting.
Yes.
Congratulations.
You're making
I
history.
know.
Woo!
Lord. Lord. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. For his glory. It's all for his
Yes.
Yes,
glory.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, also yeah,
Mm.
like Dr. Abby said, visit her booth, and make sure you check out, and of course follow us at philpro.org to learn more about events like this. And for those joining us, please continue to be part of PhilProCon. Thank you again, Dr. Abby.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. And I'll see you in the other sessions.
Yes. Looking
Yes,
forward to
talk to you guys.
connecting.
Bye,
Okay.
Take
guys.
care. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Take care.